Hi everyone, Harry here with a little election law news. And I want to state the general point first, which is we are less than 2 months from the election. And that is a time where the sort of signature feature of election law begins to kick in. And that is its extreme time deadlines because, most cases can go on forever. Election law cases are in the real world where ballots must be printed. And this is especially the case after an election where a candidate must win or must lose, especially if it's the president. So this, for those who remember Bush v. Gore, there was some certain claims that were very good for Gore, but there was just no way and no time to put them in. You can only focus on what a court can remedy. All right. So likewise, things are now playing out against the ticking clock. And a couple things have happened here. So first is North Carolina highest court has ruled that has accepted RFK Jr.'s request to pull his name from the ballot. This has, really political consequence. North Carolina seems to be sneaking into the class of 7 or so swing states that everything rides on. Kennedy, who now supports Trump and has endorsed Trump, wants his name off the ballot lest people vote for him whose votes, his having endorsed Trump, would go to Trump. But he's played this out in many states. A few places he got an easy ride. Not in North Carolina, where the election board said, just too late. We can't, it just would be crazy to try to reprint everything, et cetera. And he took it to court. He lost at the trial level, but at both the appellate level and now definitively at the level of the North Carolina Supreme Court, they said, election board, we're not impressed with your claim that it's just too hard. In fact, you took a week to even answer his request. So that really kind of puts makes us skeptical. Go and take, I know it'll cost, we know, the Supreme Court, 4-3, by the way. We know it'll cost money. We know it'll be inconvenient. Too bad. Otherwise, we could deceive voters. It's very important that people understand that because a vote for Kennedy is a non-vote, since he's not running, take him off the ballot. And that's the end of the story. It's the North Carolina Supreme Court. No Kennedy on the ballot, whatever money and inconvenience at occasions into the election board. And North Carolina voters won't have the choice to vote for Kennedy. And presumably the majority of them who would have, though, you're always talking about in these cases, voters who what voters don't know this but everything here comes down to margin. So voters who want to vote for Kennedy, not knowing that he's not in there, that's who we're talking about. Anyway, those voters now will see he's not there. And by hypothesis, more of those will go for Trump. A victory for Trump and in a sense for Kennedy. And it makes the North Carolina election maybe a smidgen more toward Trump, and smidgens are what we're talking about. And for those keeping score at home, RFK's overall efforts now have been basically successful. Michigan ruled he's got to stay on the ballot. Of course, Michigan is a very, very, very important swing state. But now North Carolina was, along with Michigan, one that had said stay on the ballot. Now he's off. And likewise, Arizona, Florida, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Texas did remove his name. Basically, the focus will be Michigan now, and largely he was able to succeed in his efforts against arguments by state elector boards. It's just too late, and the law, one way or another, doesn't require us to take it off. Second, there's a Missouri November ballot measure about abortion that would enshrine basically abortion rights in the Constitution, akin to Roe versus Wade. And the Secretary of State, same kind of thing. No, not enough time, and they haven't complied with all the law here. So take it off the ballot, and if they can just use that against the ticking clock, then it's over for the whole election season. And the argument was it's deceptive under Missouri law because they haven't fully delineated every different law out there that the constitutional amendment would, in effect, overrule or displace. That was the argument. The Secretary of State liked the argument, but the court has ruled the Secretary of State's got to put the measure back on the ballot, so that now it's on the Missouri ballot. There's going to be dozens of these going on, always against the sort of backdrop of the clock. Some of them having pretty important consequences for the election. There's a lot of states where Republicans are trying to put into effect measures that would make it harder for certain voters to vote, or make it harder to do different kinds of voting, and, of course, could just rule, and there won't be time for a year to play it all out, who was right or who was wrong, because the election comes. Okay, so there you go. RFK not on the ballot in North Carolina, abortion measure on the ballot in Missouri, and that's today's news. Is going to be, happening over the next couple months as we approach the election, and then potentially, if there's post-election litigation, all the more that really plays out against the ticking clock. And of course, Trump has sort of promised if he loses, we got 2020 redukes coming. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.